Are you considering undertaking a residential development project but lack confidence around understanding planning overlays? Well, stick around because in this video, I'm going to explain planning overlays in a way that will make sense. I'm going to break down the various overlays and what they mean to your development. Let's get into the video. Hey guys, Peter Kelly here from Little Fish Property Developments, helping you maximise the value of your land and generate wealth through low-risk residential development projects. On this channel, we share everything you need to deliver successful projects time and time again. So if you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn the bell notifications on so you don't miss a thing. When looking at a development site, the first thing you need to consider is its residential zone. Ultimately, you're looking for a zone that encourages the type of development that you're looking to undertake. The second thing you need to consider are planning overlays. Planning overlays are designed to control land development. It's important to point out that planning overlays are different to planning zones. All land falls under a planning zone, but not all land is subject to a planning overlay. Planning overlays are specific to the land that your property is located, and they directly impact what you can and can't do with the land. In Victoria, there are many overlays. They range from erosion and bushfire risk right through to Melbourne Airport enviro overlays. But in this video, we're going to focus on the ones that we encounter each day as residential property developers working in and around Melbourne. Heritage overlay, special building overlay, vegetation and protection overlay, and significant landscape overlay. Let's talk about heritage overlays. Heritage and built form overlays are about preserving the heritage value of existing buildings. This could be the building itself, or it could be specific parts of the building that you need to preserve. As a property developer, depending on your risk appetite, I suggest avoiding heritage overlays where possible, particularly what we do here at Little Fish. Our development strategy is all about low risk and high returns, so navigating heritage overlay requirements doesn't make any sense to us. Next, let's look at the special building overlay. This overlay relates to areas prone to overland flooding. Its purpose is to set appropriate conditions around finished floor levels which address the flood risk of a potential site. The key, as a townhouse builder or developer, is to be aware of the overlay ahead of time and expected costs related to complying with the conditions set out to be factored inside your feasibility. We recently completed a project that we picked up off a client midway through. They were experiencing all sorts of issues related to potential flooding. Virtually at the 11th hour, the entire design needed to be lifted 300 mil. This had a massive knock-on effect for the entire project and its overall outcome, costing significant time and money. It was a perfect example and reminder of how important it is to be aware of these overlays and the relevant conditions ahead of time and how costly they can be. Next, let's look at the vegetation protection overlay. This overlay applies to land with significant vegetation that requires preserving and protecting. In a nutshell, if your development site has a lot of significant vegetation, this overlay will impact from what you can and can't do. This is something you need to be aware of ahead of time before you start making big decisions on a site's feasibility. If there is this overlay on your site, you need to work with an arborist to understand the impact that it'll have on your development. And lastly, let's look at the significant landscape overlay. This overlay is all about protecting and managing significant landscapes. Its purpose is to identify significant landscapes and conserve and enhance their character. Again, the conditions outlined in this overlay will directly impact what you can and can't remove, ultimately affecting what you can achieve on the site. It is important to note that the significant landscape overlay doesn't put a line through your project straight away. It is important to develop in accordance with the relevant requirements, but all the sites and situations are going to be different. Once again though, it's definitely something that needs to be identified and considered at the very beginning of your due diligence process. This will avoid unwanted and costly surprises and will save wasting time and resource. To wrap it all up, planning overlays have a great potential to complicate your project, particularly early on when you're trying to determine the feasibility of a site. It is vital that you do your own research on what overlays are specific and relevant to the area that you are planning to undertake your development project in. There's no question that they are both necessary and essential to maintain the neighbourhood character and to avoid unsuitable developments. They also make sure that what is built is suitable for the site conditions, which can only be a good thing. That's a wrap, guys. Hopefully you're getting a ton of value value from these training videos. We love making them, so if you have any questions or topics that you'd like us to tackle, drop them in the comments below. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and turn the bell notifications on so you don't get left behind. I'm Peter Kelly, thanks for watching, and until next time, happy developing.